What's going on, people? So, getting on into this, because like I said in the past videos, got a lot of stuff to cover today. Side of the box is actually over here on this one because, I don't know, ASICS switched it up on me. And I've been doing some ASICS talks the last little bit here. Anyway, side of the box down there, right? So you can kind of see what we're going in here talking about and whatnot. But, I mean, there's a thumbnail. You probably already got it. But here's the thing you may not know from this thumbnail. I've talked a bit about some foamposites in the past, right? And this is not a new one, so I don't really see a whole reason to go deep into it, right? Because for one, if you're looking for foamposite videos, it's probably not the best channel to go to, so there is that, right? They're not doing anything. And also, I kind of feel like anybody who's thinking about buying these, you don't really need a review. You're probably buying them for other reasons, and maybe you want like the sizing or something, but you probably don't care about the breakdown of it. So mostly I'll hit you with some pictures in the beginning because that's just how these always start off. And then I'm just going to go right into like a comparison with the ones down here that you can't quite see. So anyways, let's go ahead and knock this out. This right here, Nike Air Foamposite One in the Royal colorway, right? Or well, it says like dark something on the side. Dark neon royal? Whatever, you know what it is. So, starting with the bottom down there, what are you looking at? Very similar outsole to the other one. We'll pull that up in just a second, and I'll fly through all the comparisons in a moment. Moving past that, up here to the midsole, right? So checking out the midsole, kind of basically what you saw down on the bottom and all that. Not a whole lot different. Giving you some other pictures and whatnot, so you kind of catch these from a little more of a top-down sort of viewpoint, right? Not a whole lot to take in. If you've ever looked at a foamposite that's like just a single color, not one of those gradient ones, yeah, it's usually pretty plain. You got like whatever color stripped and then maybe some color on the side. Yeah, that tends to be about it for the most part, right? So there's that piece of it. And that kind of gives you like the overview piece. So now I'll pull these up here. So this, I did a video on these not too long ago for whatever reason. I'm honestly not sure why as I think about it now, but it doesn't matter. It was in the past. So this one is the one from these were made in 2016, but they came out in 2017. I think that's how that was done. Either way, Royal Foamposites from the previous release, right? So looking at what's different, first off, just from the side here, it's not going to be a whole lot. Like overall, it looks very much the same. You just kind of got to get in there to really see what's happening. So we'll start at the front there. One thing you'll notice is like the swoosh. On the newer pair, it's kind of got this blue outline, whereas the old one, it was just standard white. Also, one thing I'll say, like, I don't know what was going on with these shoes when they first came out. I didn't care then. I don't care now. I'm not like a big history guy when it comes to stuff like this. I just like these, right? Because it's kind of a cool color, and I think the whole Foamposite thing is kind of cool. So that's really why we're here right now. I didn't even really care to like pick these up, but since they were readily available on every web page known to man on like a couple Fridays or Thursdays ago or whatever, I figured, yeah, sure, whatever, let's do that. Anyway, so moving past that, the blue itself looks to be like a slightly different shade, but these are older. It could be like from just overall wear and just age or something, so I'm not going to really count that as a factor. Jumping back over to like the one thing that you can see from the front anyways. So as you go up into here, like into where the tongue is, this one, it has kind of like this little shimmery shine to it, like almost like some silvery bits in there, which is kind of a weird thing. The other one is just going to be plain black, right? Which I do prefer personally. And then even as you get to the tongue, you'll see more of that up there, right? And one little thing about the tongue, on this one, the 1 cent logo for Abraham Lincoln, it does look like it's kind of like yellowed out. And I don't know if it always looked like that or if that just happened over time. The other one has like a slightly different drawing to it. Still the same 1 cent thing, but slightly looks just a little different, and it's a lot wider, so that you do have that. And then moving on past that, right, going on to the back, because that does kind of wrap around there. One thing you might notice, so this grid that they have outlining the back where it's kind of like a meshy sort of deal, on the newer pair, you can see like the square is a little easier, whereas on the back pair, it's kind of like a more flattened sort of look. And then the 1 cent logo seems to be a little bit more vibrant, right, on the newer pair than the older pair. But again, they're older, so I don't think that's something to really bring up and point out too much. One thing that is worth pointing out, though, looking down at the bottom, because that's a thing. So the outsole, right, down there when you're looking at it, for the most part it's very similar, obviously, but you do have a slightly different blue that makes up the large piece of the bottom. So you have that happening. And then down in the middle, the big difference that I noticed as soon as I took them out of the box, that carbon fiber stuff that they have. On the older one, it was just going to be just black and like a dark gray, right? Whereas on the newer one, you're looking at black and the royal color. So that's going to be there, and you can kind of see that all throughout. And one thing that I didn't really notice until yesterday when I was taking all these pictures for it, and I guess because, what is it, like these ASICS shoes I was talking about recently, I had plates on my mind, so they have plates in them as well. And you can actually kind of see where like the carbon fiber plating is down in there, which I have a good number of Foamposites, and I have never noticed that. I don't know how. Well, actually, I do know how. It's because I didn't care. But anyway, so you got that going on down there. Otherwise, on the bottom, everything else is the same. Oh, wait, no. The 1 cent logo, that was the one thing I was going to point out. This one, it's going to be all whited out. And this one, it's not, right? Otherwise, overall, blue, icy sole, 1 cent logo, carbon fiber. Very similar, but, you know, the details are there. And now, jumping onto the inside, for the newer pair, this one thing that I didn't quite cover yet. The insole design is a little bit different, right? So you got the Nike sign on one and then the Air on the other one. Whereas on the older pair, both pairs just had like the Nike Air, right? So this one, the newer one, they just kind of just split it up. Again, minor difference, but it's something to point out because it's there, right? So that's all I really have to say about these things right here. So I'm going to jump in, give you some personal thoughts, do some sizing, and be done. So let's do that. Personally, right? Again, these, I liked them when I got them, like however long ago that was, however many years it's been. But when I saw the newer pair coming around, I didn't have any drive to get these. I figured like people are going to have their second chance. They'll probably move pretty quickly and I'll just let everybody else have them. But I was walking out of work one day and I happened to get this email and say, oh, hey, these are in stock at Lapstone and Hammer. Come on over and buy them. Returning customers, please come back. I was like, oh, do you have 9.5? I'm like, yeah, we got all the sizes, dude. And I was like, oh, well, I guess I'll just take that one. So, and one thing that was cool is like, I got these shoes like the next day, which was crazy. And I'm looking at them, like eventually I'm like, yeah, they look nice. I can't say anything bad about them, but I'm fine. Like if these had not happened for me, wouldn't be a problem. I do kind of prefer this pair in some ways, mostly because of the tongue piece. But otherwise, like, yeah, it's a cool shoe, and I think if that's a thing that you're into, yeah, go ahead and pick them up or whatever. But they are also pricey, so that's kind of the thing about Foamposites. As much as I like them and talk them up, I mean, it's not a purchase for everybody, and it's not a look that's for everybody, right? It's not like, you know, certain other things that I own that I can just suggest all around. Not so much these. But don't take me sounding so negative as like looking down on these, because obviously I have numerous pairs, so I'm on board with like the model. It's just because I have them and just because I like them doesn't mean it's worth like suggesting to everybody. That's kind of the point that I'm making there. Anyway, so moving on past that. Oh, one thing that I forgot to mention, because I talked about it in the video, in the live. Down there on the siding, like this stitching here, like along the bottom, it's kind of like got these little white bits in there. The older pair was all just fine. It's just like standard black, right? And I don't know what the deal is with that, but I'm sure there are some pairs out there that are fine, that are just all black. And I'm sure there's some pairs out there that are like mine and had this little defect of sorts or whatever you want to call it. I'm not going to get too worked up over it. I mean, I don't like the fact that I spent $260 on these things after taxes and such, right? And like they're not like perfect, but that's kind of a thing that you should expect from Nike. But also the other reason I don't really care so much is because I got like a decent number of shoes. So for the most part, outside of errands or running shoes, I don't wear the same thing more than like once in a year, right? And who knows how long things will go before they pop up in the rotation anyway. So this little look here, it's gonna be a thing that matters to me, like for a few hours, like every year or two. Yeah, I'm not gonna be concerned with that. And I don't say that to like brag or anything. It's not anything to brag about, to have like a million pairs of shoes to try to work your way through. I say that to make the point that it's a little thing. It's just a minor inconvenience. So anyways, sizing. I bought these true to size, 9.5. That's what that means for me. And it's working out fine. It's not a whole lot of room going on in there. Sort of a slimish build and all that stuff. But sometimes things that have these little sock liner booties in here kind of fit that way. It's a thing that happens, right? If you've ever worn a Jordan 9 or a 7, right? A Huarache, they all fall into that same category too. But it's fine enough for me, right? But the other thing to throw in there is that when you are wearing these, right? Because they have that whole foam mold to your foot technology. Some people dispute that, I guess, or if it really does or doesn't. Or they say maybe it's just breaking in. I don't know. I have nothing to say about that because, again, I don't wear these a whole lot to really give you any sort of real opinion on it. But I will say this. They do feel better later, period, right? Whether it's foam or just breaking in naturally because that's what stuff does, it happens. Now, if it's only going to do that to so great of a degree, right? So some people out there, maybe a half size up or something is something you'd want to look into, because the outside, the dimensions of the shoe are all pretty much going to stay the same. It's not like these Ultra Boosts that just really stretch out over time, But walking around in them though, I made the mistake of doing the walking around in these after all these running shoes, and these felt just awful. But normally speaking, right, I talk them up and say that they're fine. So I'm going to say that they're probably still fine. Just if you go from a really nice pair of running shoes to these, you're going to notice that these are not it, people. But they got that Zoom Air down in there somewhere or something like that. So that kind of helps, right? Breathability is just god awful because, it's this whole big plastic shell. But all in all, again, like I opened this video with, if you're watching this to buy these, you know what you're getting into, and you don't care about some of these little things that I'm talking about. You just want them, and you probably are just here just to look at them anyway. So what's it even matter? So may as well just move on. And I'm going to do that. From me to you, have a nice rest of your day or rest of your night, whatever is wherever you are. I have one more pair of shoes to talk about, and it's one that I've actually been looking forward to a lot, and then it was kind of a letdown in some ways. So there's that for you. Later, people.